Brighton. Yeah, Shona McCullough. I've already given my introduction. I'm of course speaking in a personal capacity. As a Brighton resident, I'm pleased to welcome this NSSN mobilisation to our city, a city that has shown a huge response to the strikes and battles so far, and a special thanks to some of you for travelling so far. Many of us in the Labour movement are still reeling from the betrayal of December the 19th, when, less than a month after the greatest day of coordinated strike action in this country since 1926, the unity long called for by organisations such as the NSSN and relentlessly fought for by activists from branch to national level was smashed, as our so-called leaders told us they believed that our members were suffering from strike fatigue after just one day's action, and concession bargaining was the best that we could do. An incredible assertion for us here in Brighton, where 10,000 people marched through our streets in the biggest demonstration that Sussex has ever seen, and calls for further action to defeat not just the pension cuts but austerity were met with raucous applause. We haven't stopped marching, or organising, or fighting tooth and nail against every injustice, and we know nowhere else has either, at least amongst the rank and file. Despite the betrayal of December 19th, this has been an incredible couple of years, and we're beginning to rebuild the unity of our movement. The challenge is not insurmountable. All Unison service group executives were put under pressure to recommend acceptance of the changes to the local government pension scheme to members. But in higher education, where the left made gains in the recent elections, we resisted this instruction and gave members our honest opinion that the changes were unfair, unnecessary, and should be rejected. This outcome was swept under the carpet nationally, but it was significant. The bureaucracy has lost a rubber stamp, and just as activists in the PCS heroically pried their union from the grip of a right-wing bureaucracy a decade ago, activists in Unison can and must use every avenue available to us to reclaim our union. Out of the ring of the pensions fight are still battered and bruised. We want to stand in solidarity with those who are still fighting that battle, and to work together to defeat the twin blights of the vicious ramping up of the state retirement age and the shame of 1 million young people consigned to the scrap heap. But it is clear that our next bout is going to be on pay. In higher education, as across the public sector, pay for normal workers has plummeted over the last few years, whilst Vice-Chancellors of top universities enjoy salaries of over 300 grand and rising. Despite Vice-Chancellors awarding themselves on average £9,700 pay rises last year, their offer to us this year was just 1%. And both Unison and UCU are about to ballot for strike action to give members the opportunity to fight for a fair deal. We can win a yes vote in this ballot, and I and other lefts on the service group executives are fighting for a serious, sustained campaign of strike action, beginning with not 1 but 2 days of action directly before the TUC demonstration on October 20th, and with further action if necessary to coincide with November student demonstrations. We owe members a fighting strategy capable of winning, not just an exercise in letting off steam.